all the budget in the world, but in the wrong place won't equal engagement.
A down economy, inflation, mass layoffs. Times are tough right now, and these tidal waves of pressure can sink your company morale, even in calmer waters. Your team's morale requires your consistent attention to keep the boat afloat. So what does that look like? This is the Culture Clinic, where my co-founder Joe and I are constantly learning from HR experts on how to build a culture where people love to work. My name is Skay, and I'm one of the co-founders here at Guusto. And I'm joined today by Shelly DaCosta, an HR expert in the rewards and recognition space. Shelly, you ready to jump into today's topic?
All set.
Engagement on a budget, low to no cost ways to improve morale. Have you ever experienced sinking morale at a company? And like, what steps did you take to prevent it from falling flat?
Oh, there's a lot to get going on with if you're really starting to see it drop. And you know, it's first of all, you're trying to dig in and assess what is causing it. So is it, you know, a looming takeover in some situations? I've seen that they know that that's happening. Huge change in leadership in the organization. People don't feel like they understand the direction that the organization's going in. Layoffs. The company just not doing well, all of those things, you need to kind of dig in and find out what's causing that, you know, sinking, back to the analogy of the ships in the water, that sinking morale, and then trying to solve some of that where you possibly can, right? So if it's about new leadership in the organization, get people to know the new leadership. What do they stand for? Have them, you know, be on social media talking about themselves and what they are, what they see for the organization, what they're bringing to the organization. Have them do focus groups with employees so employees can get to know them and trust them and feel better about everything. Have them understand what's going on with a potential takeover. And then sometimes it's just, it is what it is. The company's not doing really well. There's a downturn in the economy. That is what it is. But be transparent with the employees around that, where they can understand what the numbers look like and show the quarter dollars, et cetera. And not so that, hey, you know, we want you to know that we're sinking, but you're still part of this. And this is still where you're contributing to the organization. There's still amazing things we can do as a team and how we can get together on this and how we can band together and have them still feel like they can belong and that they can contribute. That's the biggest piece, so that they realize that the ship's not sinking. They're able to help keep it afloat with their efforts and their work. And so that's what you're trying to do. And
I have to imagine a good portion too is being able to provide kind of clarity on their career path when things are changing, like you talked about, kind of like a merger or acquisition. Keeping employees engaged through that is got to be all about kind of providing clarity on like, hey, where's my path through this? And even for smaller organizations, right? Like here at Guusto, like we just went through kind of a big exercise with our HR team, putting together salary bands and competency frameworks, and really helping employees kind of understand what their path is and how they can kind of get to the next level. And that has been tremendous at driving engagement, and it didn't have any hard costs. It did take a lot of work to kind of put everything together there, but it is kind of like a big contributor to engagement.
For sure, because I mean, that's where you want those leaders to having those one-on-ones with their employees and actually having, you know, that stay discussion in terms of I know, you know, some of your colleagues have left. I know that we've had to have some layoffs, but we still see and value you and your part in the organization. Here's what we see as a career path for you down the road. This is how we're going to get you there. This is a part you have to play in it, and this is the part we will play in it. And here's our commitment to you going forward. I mean, those are very, very powerful discussions, and they do a great deal to improve engagement.
What floats your boat, Shelly, when it comes to employee engagement initiatives?
Let's see, floats my boat. You love that ship analogy here. I think everything does when it comes to employee engagement. I like all of it, everything that we do around that. But you need to assess the culture and the working model of your employees. Like, do they want to socialize together, or do you have a lot of employees that commute into a city every day and they just want to get home? They don't want after work socialization or events that way. Do you have the majority of your employees working from home, on the other hand, and they rarely get to interact? And so if that's meaningful to them, provide an opportunity for on-site social interaction. I think it's important to look at what your last engagement survey has told you. Do your employees feel they have opportunities to grow and learn? Do they see career paths for them, clear career paths, and opportunities for themselves? And if not, can you provide more learning opportunities? That's where we get into those L&D initiatives that are so great.
Mm-hmm. And that's a big one here at Guusto. Learn is one of our core values, right? And so everything from providing flexibility and time to take additional courses to an L&D budget for every employee to kind of go and take some courses to we actually have like an unlimited book policy here. So employees can kind of make a request to order a book, and our HR team will kind of get that ordered for them. We've got Audible accounts just to help people constantly be learning. And so we've made a big investment on the engagement side on kind of like the learning side.
Yeah. Even your vacation policy, it's all about listening, caring, and acting, right? Hear what your employees have to say, talk it through. What are they asking for? What makes them happy and keeps them working there? Care enough to ask those questions, listen, and then care enough to act on those initiatives going forward.
And I think with the acting piece, a big component there is communicating and being transparent about how you are going to act. And because you can't do it all, right? And so surely you're going to get requests for all sorts of different things. But if you share that data with the employees, you can show them that like, hey, these are the most kind of requested or the most popular items. We're going to do them. And so as a result, we're not able to kind of do everything else.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. Transparency is so key to all of this. Help put them in the driver's seat alongside with you.
Does putting less budget into engagement always equal less engagement?
I guess it depends. It can, for sure, but it depends on what your budget is going to. All the budget in the world, but in the wrong place, won't equal engagement, right? If it's not impactful for employees. And it's often the little things that can mean the most for your employees. Like very often showing employees you're listening to them, whether it's, conducting surveys, town halls, focus groups, etc. It's critical. It's really important. But even more important is then acting on and communicating about what you've learned in those focus groups, what you've heard, what they've told you, and as you indicated, what you're able to do now going forward. So we heard this, many of you have said that. We're going to survey some more and kind of find out, these are the top 3 initiatives that are really going to be meaningful for you. We're going to be able to do this one within the next 6 months. The other 2 we're not going to be able to tackle till, Q3 type of thing.
And I think about kind of engagement doesn't always have to be kind of social events and, budgeted social events and team building events. And while they're great, and we're actually taking our full team for kind of an offsite, we're a remote company. And so there's an opportunity to kind of get everybody together and build some engagement that way. It doesn't always have to be like that. And so like, what are some of the most cost-effective ways to improve employee engagement?
Oh, recognition programs, of course, programs like Guusto, but seriously, they can really show employees that their work is acknowledged and appreciated. Empower and provide leaders with opportunities to speak with their employees, to show they belong and they care. Having those discussions, like, do your leaders know how to have those discussions? Are they freed up to have those discussions? Are they encouraged to have those discussions? Train your leaders in this if it's necessary. Even allow access to senior leadership. Let employees know they have a voice and that senior leadership is listening to them. I've seen organizations where, on a regular basis, you've got that opportunity to have lunch with a senior leadership member and chat and talk and present your ideas, and they're listening. And then you find out what happens as a result of what they've heard. They put that in the next newsletter or they talk about it at the next town hall. It's also really important to review your current programs, because you could have dollars, going out the window to programs that are not all that effective. So look at your rewards program, look at your employee value proposition, and look where there's gaps or where there are pieces that employees are asking for. What are you doing for wellness? That's one of the, a huge initiative that can show your employees that you care and have them link into feeling that and that they're appreciated, that you actually care about, whether it's their financial wellness, their mental wellness, their health, all of those, their families. with employee assistance programs and family programs. Do employees know how they contribute to the organization, its mission and values? Do they know what the mission and values are and how their part, their team, the work that they're doing actually contributes to that? If not, that's communication that you can show them that, but it's not, a lot of budget going towards that. But it will allow them to feel appreciated and acknowledged.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything to be transparent, right? And share, well, obviously, we want to kind of share the company's kind of mission and vision and direction so that people can kind of align around that. But being transparent with the results and kind of where the company's at and how different departments and different roles are contributing to moving the company in that direction can drive a tremendous amount of engagement, and it doesn't cost anything.
Right. Absolutely.
I love the one that you said around kind of access to leadership. We're not a huge company, right? Kind of just over 50 people now. But we, both Joe and I, my co-founder and I, do office hours, do skip level one-on-ones. And well, it helps to kind of drive engagement from our employees and provide mentorship. It helps to surface ideas and gives us as leaders access into kind of what's happening on the front line. They're talking to customers, they're collaborating with colleagues, they're the ones running into hurdles. And so we can kind of get a much better sense as to where things are kind of blocked, where the opportunities might be. And so it's a win-win.
Employees are so smart, and you're smart if you're tapping into that, right? And letting them have that opportunity to, wear your hat for a little bit and talk about those kinds of issues.
The other one, you touched on recognition right at the top, and we're obviously kind of biased as a recognition company. But again, it doesn't need to be a really expensive program, right? Like you can do kind of fully non-monetary peer-to-peer programs. Typically, you'll want to build some incentives and rewards around those programs to get a certain level of participation. And so we often recommend clients are doing either kind of weekly or monthly draws from all the shout outs or nominations, or maybe looking at some leaderboards for who's receiving, but also giving the most recognition.
Right.
And doing some rewards around those and highlighting them during kind of town halls or team meetings, things like that. So it doesn't kind of cost too much money. And so my next question here for you, is there anything you can do that won't cost anything?
So I always like to look to things like charity events. Great example. We did shoreline cleanup, along Lake Ontario. So, contact the city, the region, wherever your offices are, those kinds of things. And employees, have an afternoon together cleaning up the shoreline, right? The cost was, I think we provided lunch maybe, or T-shirts if we wanted them to be identified, etc. But it brought the employees together for a cause. It aligned them for the greater good. And especially if it aligns with your organization and the social consciousness of your organization, what they do, what you stand for, those kinds of things, like, taking care of your community. Holidays, it's always, you see, well, are we going to have a holiday dinner? Are we going to have this? And then sometimes you can turn around and put it to the employees themselves that maybe they want to sponsor a family that's in need over the holidays. And help them out, those kinds of things, and have your employees run the events. Have, you kind of have them provide the check to that charity. Have them be the spokesperson for the organization because they were out there doing that, right? Let them be the ambassadors for the organization on these initiatives. You do the one-drop programs, you and Joe, that's, been part of the grassroots of Guusto from day one, right? And how does that feel when you go and present a check or meet with them?
It's great. Writing the check every year and sending it over to their organization, and they're always so appreciative. And the new one, with it being kind of Mental Health Awareness Month right now, Joe and I decided to pledge 1% of our kind of founder equity to the Canadian Mental Health Association through an organization called the Upside Foundation. So we partnered with them, and a number of other startup companies have done the same. And it allows us to be able to write a check to that organization when we eventually kind of sell the company. So that's been great. And on the employee side, what we did around mental health was offer throughout this month mental health first aid training. And so that's been fantastic. And we've had really great participation across the organization. A lot of employees have taken part in that.
So that, I mean, it's a phenomenal initiative that you're doing. And think what it feels like as your employees to go, wow, you know, our founders care so much that they're doing this. Our organization cares so much that they're turning its attention to this and providing opportunities and training for us. They must care. This is a place I want to stay. So, you know, again, it's that goodwill. Social committees is another one that doesn't have to cost you any money. The employees can run it themselves, right? They can contribute dollars. You know, you're helping maybe with the administration if the money or the dues for the social committee, whatever, coming off of their pay or whatever. And some organizations will match that. So the employee puts, you know, $2 per pay and the organization matches it at the end of the year. To allow them to come together, and whether it's charitable events or social events or opportunities to do things to help with engagement. It's a really great opportunities. And then from there, things grow because, you know, that social committee is now bringing people together to play baseball in the evenings, or they're doing another charity event or what have you. And yeah, we already talked peer-to-peer recognition. That's another one. You know, you can do that without a monetary value. The beauty is with Guusto is that you can phase that in. You can start that way and show how your senior leadership, how much recognition is helping engagement. So if we were to put some more budget to it, how much that could even grow further. And, you know, like with Guusto, you can do that in that kind of phased approach, start small and grow bigger and bigger.
And that's actually my next question here. Like, if you're struggling to get the budget that you need for your engagement initiatives, how do you convince your leadership team to kind of prioritize it?
Yeah, that's where you've got to prove the point. You've got to show the impact of the lack of engagement. So, you know, again, it's all the transparency. Be transparent with your turnover rates, the productivity, overtime, stress, the number of grievances coming in. What are they for? What's going on in your organization? And then show the case studies, whether it's case studies within your organization, i.e., well, we put in peer-to-peer recognition and look how this improved and look how much better this got. So we're looking for some more dollars here. Or even if it's outside, you know, that there's documented proof that employee engagement can have a positive impact on your culture. And then go so far as to look at your employee value proposition. If you don't have one, I strongly recommend organizations, big or small, you know, what is your value proposition? What is keeping your employees there? What are they receiving besides just compensation in return for giving you, you know, their hearts and minds on a daily basis, right? And then you want to align that with your culture and who you are as an organization. You know, that's the presentation to the senior leadership team, that if we do this, this will happen. We can grow this. We can increase engagement. And if you increase engagement, we're going to, you know, lower those turnover rates. We're going to increase some productivity, reduce the stress, reduce perhaps the grievances if you're a unionized organization. There's just so much out there that is proven that this is what we need to do.
And, you know, from the other side of the table, kind of being the executive here at Guusto and having our, not just our HR team, but all of our kind of departmental leaders coming with proposals, it really is about kind of like crawl, walk, run. So let's do something. Let's demonstrate some results. And then we can kind of grow the program from there, right? And so, and you know, for larger organizations, this might look like kind of piloting something with a certain department, or maybe a couple locations or a region or something like that. And then seeing some of those results. And then you've got some champions too that can help you kind of roll out those programs across the organization.
Yes, absolutely. And like I said, let your employees be the ambassadors, help them, you know, to help present what it meant to them when you put in different programs, or where you tested the waters with things like unlimited vacation. What did that mean to them? Have them, you know, champion that on your behalf. So going forward, you've got senior leadership going, hey, how can we refuse? This is really having an impact on our organization and on our employees.
Well, Shelley, I really appreciate you kind of taking the time to enlighten us with all of your wisdom and experience. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next show.
Thanks.
Want to learn why you should invest in culture and engagement? Check out Culture is the Ultimate Advantage, our free guide to turning your culture into your company's greatest strength. Click the link in the description to get your copy. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our future episodes. Don't forget to recognize somebody for a job well done today. Mucho gusto.